biggest action, at least in New Jersey, that occurred was on March 28, 2020, Governor Murphy enacted Executive Order number 106. Effectively, what that order did was it prevented evictions from occurring for people who were unable to pay their rent. The state of New Jersey, the government realized that due to the pandemic, a number of people were either out of work, lost their jobs, or forced to quarantine. There was absolutely no way for them to meet their financial obligations, especially rent. And it became a very important issue for our state to make sure that people were not kicked out onto the streets with no place to go. So under Executive 106, the courts were not allowed to issue evictions, what we call judgments for possession, to allow landlords to remove tenants solely on the basis of non-payment of rent. There were exceptions made for exceptional circumstances, such as if there was criminal activity occurring on the property, or if there was drug use, or if there was violence or domestic violence. But outside of those rare exceptions, it was almost impossible to get an eviction. The executive order also went further with foreclosures. So if you had faced a foreclosure or if you were unable to pay your mortgage, there was protection for that as well. And the order required lending institutions to provide forbearance. The concept of forbearance is where the bank will allow the party to either defer payments or restructure their loans to give them an opportunity to catch up with payments in the future. One of the interesting parts about this, though, unfortunately, is that at the time the executive order was issued, there was no timeline. We had no idea how long this pandemic was going to last. Early estimates, if you listen to Trump, was 30 days. As we all know, that obviously was not accurate. And the executive order it's still in effect and will continue in effect until the emergency, the governor rules that there is no longer a state of emergency as a result of COVID. And then it's supposed to stay in effect for 60 days thereafter. So it is still law, it is still on the books, and it is, because it has now been more than a year, it has obviously caused significant problems across the board, both for landlords, tenants, homeowners, and lending institutions.